AstroEnergy Astrology Show on Blog Talk Radio with me, Astrologer Shelley Overton. Each week we go over the planetary positions, discuss astrology, and take callers' questions. If you would like to call in and get a reading, you can call 347-994-3365. Call in early as the lines fill up. Listening to the AstroEnergy Astrology Show with me, Astrologer Shelley Overton. I am an astrologer in Orlando, Florida. Today is February 19th, 2018. No, 2019. Oh my gosh. Really? So it's 2/19/19. I got it right. I can do this. Welcome to the show. I hope you are having a good week. It is a very momentous day and time, as the moon is full as we speak. It is full. I will read from my handy day timer here, my daily planetary guide. And the moon is full at 10:54. So literally 5 minutes past full right now. So we're talking about the full moon, and it's in Virgo today. So I'm just going to start out with that, because, you know, it's an interesting subject and it's actually extremely timely. So the moon goes around in cycles, and it orbits the Earth. And of course, when it's between the Earth and the sun, we have part of the cycle and it's a new moon. And when it's on the other side, we have a full moon. So today is a time when, of course, the moon is opposite the Earth, or excuse me, the other side of the Earth from the sun. And so that means that it's full. So as I speak, we are now in the sun sign of Pisces, which just happened. That happened at, let me just look. I have to get my glasses on here. Okay. The sun entered Pisces at 6:04 p.m. Eastern, 3:04 p.m. Pacific yesterday, President's Day. And so it's only been there a very short time. And the moon was in Leo until just this morning at 9:47 a.m., only about an hour ago. And so what does all that mean? Well, I'll tell you. Represents women and mothers. It represents domestic energy. It is the ruler of this Cancer and the fourth house of the zodiac. So it's all about nurturing. It's about emotions and sensitivity. It can also be about water and how that connects us to our sensitivity. So when a moon is new, it is right next to the sun and just beginning its journey around the Earth. And, or actually, I shouldn't, yeah, I guess, you know, I would assume that that's really how it is, that the moon, because the moon, if you think about it, is like a satellite to Earth. So as the Earth rotates, the moon is there, but it doesn't necessarily go around it stays close in orbit to the Earth. So it does rotate around the Earth because we see it going around, but it isn't the same kind of orbit per se that, say, Venus and Mercury have. So anyway, this is what happens with Moon in Virgo. I get very analytical and up in my mind. So Virgo is a sign of analysis. It is ruled naturally by Mercury, and it is a sign of the teacher, of the healer, the physician, and also people in military. So when the moon, a nurturing body in the heavens, goes into Virgo, it is infused with those issues, those ideologies and themes. So now we are going into 2.5 days of this energy of analysis and medical issues. It can also be issues around animals. I'm thinking that my cat that I just got spayed last week has a little medical thing. I think it probably has a UTI, so we're going to deal with that. But it is about health, and it's about thoughtfulness and consideration, humility, and service. Now, when the moon goes from new, it is initiating energy. It is completely at zero with reflecting light. There's nothing there. As it waxes or gets bigger, it goes through the signs and is infused with all this energy as it goes through the sign. Wherever it starts out, it builds on those signs, and we start to get this more full emotional energy. When it hits its peak on the day of the full moon, it is a culmination, an emotional culmination, a culmination of energies around nurturing, around emotions. We can feel very full of emotion. So today you might feel emotion, but in Virgo, you could probably stuff down because that's Virgo's really good at. So something that I find really interesting about this particular position is that it's at 0 degrees of Virgo. So when you look at the signs and the degrees of the signs that planets go through, it is 0 through 29:59. So that's 29 degrees and 59 minutes. It hits the next sign the minute after 59. So then it becomes 0 again. So what happened with the moon this time is it waxed and it got very full in Leo, which is about children, romance, creativity, and then it went into Virgo. And within an hour, it was completely opposite the sun and full. And now it starts to wane. So it is full at the beginning of a cycle instead of the end of a cycle. So I will say that there's probably an ending of sorts around a Leo issue, around children or romance culminating and finishing up, or some type of creative endeavor, some connectedness or relatedness to another person. So that's the Leo energy. Going into Virgo, but being at its fullest and then waning all through Virgo means that it's almost like we get something coming in very quickly. Remember, again, Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So that's quickness, that's agility, it's quickness of mind, or something that's not particularly stable. It's mercurial. And so we get this event that may flash and then go away. Or it can even come in really strong and then wane and diminish as time goes on. So it's not a culmination of Virgo completely. It's actually probably closer to a culmination of Leo. And the Virgo steps in and says, yes, that is no longer working. And of course, Leo sign is ruled by the sun. And now, particular degree 29:59 of Leo, which is where it was an hour ago, was opposite the sun. So it was in the sun, again, its ruling sign, so it's now at odds with its own nature. And then it goes into Virgo, and Virgo says, yeah, done with that. Don't drag it on any further. And I don't know, the thing that comes to mind for me initially is logging into Blog Talk, and every week I have to call the show, log out, or at least log out of the call, and then call it again to make it work. And I've been having issues over the last couple months that are definitely pointing me in a direction of making a change with Blog Talk, whether that means reinitiating a new channel from Blog Talk, which creates a new initiating chart, or finding an alternative, which I'll tell you is not easy, because the beauty of Blog Talk is that it has a call-in board. There aren't any that I can find that have a call-in board if you want a podcast. So, and I do love taking calls. I love talking to people. So that's kind of the issue. But again, today called in, and I had to call out or sign out and call back in. And so anyway, that is kind of the issue that we see with this Mercury ruled moon right now. And then of course Virgo, um, it's the loner. It isn't a very emotional sign. So having the moon in Virgo is sucking out some emotion. It's making it much more self-conscious and self-analytical and aware. And I can tell you moon in Virgo means that you're probably going to feel like you need to clean the house more. Virgo is a very meticulous, detail-minded sign. It is the sign that I would say rules janitorial services or cleaning. Definitely moon in Virgo, cleaning house is something that you would see with a person with moon in Virgo, that's what they like to do. And I plead guilty. I cleaned my house this morning, usually a Monday morning thing, but today the moon's in Virgo, so this is the day I ended up doing it. Wasn't on purpose. It just was the way it timed out. But yeah, the Virgo energy with the moon can pull us back and make us want to be more in the home and not necessarily interacting with others. So my daughter yesterday went out. I was very proud of her, and she got a volunteer position at a local daycare because that's her field of study. She's doing early childhood education in high school, and she's going to be studying that in college as well. And so she went out, and she's been meaning to do this for a while, but we went out, and she actually went on her own inside the building and talked to them and was able to manifest this position where she could come in and basically it's like an internship. And she said she was going to start that today. I honestly am holding my breath. I don't know that she's probably going to do that. We shall see. But yeah, I mean, she's pretty excited about it, but it's also a sign of wanting to be around the house or at least be alone and not necessarily with others. But the other side, which I will say does support it, is Virgo is the teacher. Virgo is the one that does really well with children in probably a more formatted way, so in a school structure. And so they really like administrative work and doing kind of like bean counter comes to mind, or, doing the meticulous task-oriented side of business. So that could also be the next 2.5 days for all of us, is where we're really taking care of the behind-the-scenes work that needs to get done, the details, things like that. You may have a conference with a teacher or hear more from teachers right now. So the moon is very full, and it will be full for the next couple days. Yes, it is waxing, but it is still a full waxing moon, or excuse me, waning. I got to get my terms right there, don't I? Anyway, waning now. So it's getting smaller day by day, bit by bit, but it's still pretty pronounced. And from what I understand, it is the closest to Earth it will be this year. So I saw it last night. It's quite beautiful coming up on the horizon. And actually, it's going to be pretty prominent if you can see the sky, which right now, I can't see the sky. It's 70 degrees and pretty much overcast here in Orlando. So in the middle of the day, if you're on the East Coast, is when you'll see the moon. But anyway, it's quite lovely. And I think that's pretty much all I have to say about the moon. So let's get on to some other planets. I am looking at Uranus right now at 29 degrees and 24 minutes. He is continuing to move on closer and closer every day towards that March 6th transit into Taurus. We have Mars at 3 degrees Taurus. So they are still very close in orb. They're only 4 degrees apart, actually. Yeah, exactly 4 degrees apart. And so Mars is still influenced by Uranus. There is still that agitation energy that we can feel. But when Mars is in an Earth sign, he, in the Aries, he is very much about moving forward and doing something quickly. When he gets to Taurus, he slows down, but he is also still irritable and can, because of the close proximity to Uranus, and he can express that more in the physical realm. So it is still a volatile time to see acting out, to see news stories of violence, because Mars now is in a sign that can be physical and can do physical damage, so to speak. Yes, it is ruled by Venus, but again, it's Mars, and Mars is an action-based physical sign, a physical planet, and he is also really close to that Uranus and Aries. So there is still that overlapping energy. I would say we're probably going to feel this for, let me actually just look it up. It's probably going to be the next week. Let me go into my ephemeris and see how long till he get. Yeah, about the 25th, he'll get to 7 degrees and be approaching the end of that conjunction to Uranus. So the end of February, it's going to be a little bit better as Mars does pull away. We get a little bit more acclimatized to the energy of Taurus, and it's not going to be quite so feisty, quite so ready to, fight. Jupiter, although Jupiter is in a fire sign, so there is some agitation coming up with the trine of Jupiter and Uranus, but I don't really necessarily see that as the same kind of energy as Mars in Aries. So Jupiter and you're in Sagittarius is going to be more playful and not take things so seriously. So that's a really actual big benefit as Mars moves away from Uranus. It's kind of like step away from the car, step away from Uranus, and then we're going to get a little bit more light energy and not quite acting out. And it is also an accident energy with Mars in this orb closer to Jupiter as he has been and closer to Uranus, the unexpected. I have a lot of emergency vehicles I've been seeing in the last couple of weeks, as you know, if you listen to the podcast from the fire that was a couple of weeks ago just down the road. But as I was starting this podcast, literally 11 o'clock, 2 emergency vehicles went by again. And so it's still happening here in Orlando. It's still that energy. And also, like I said, Virgo energy can rule a certain amount of groups of people and like a cooperation energy. There's definitely a connectedness to that service energy. So, but it is, like I said, it's more military. Mars is actually more emergency. So again, because he's so close to Uranus, you're going to see the emergency energy still for a little bit till the end of the month. And then we have Sun at 0 Pisces. I love Pisces. They are the lovingest, most generous of spirit sign of the zodiac. They will just accept you for who you are. And so I have to say that I am very happy to see Sun at 0 Pisces. Actually, on top of it, my Saturn is at 0 Pisces, and I think it's almost exactly conjunct as I'm speaking right now. But I have my lovely aunt whose birthday is within the week, and she is also a Pisces. So it's just a really nice, accepting energy. They want to be loved. They want to love. They want to cuddle. They're artistic. They're intuitive. They can be overly optimistic with people and their behaviors. So look for that coming up this month. Also, Mercury is at 16 conjunct Neptune, which it was this week. So in the last couple days, Mercury was exactly where Neptune is. That's at 15 degrees Pisces, and Mercury is at 16 Pisces. So they are acting in tandem. It means that our desires and what we worry about are kind of one and the same. We think and go over and over stuff in our minds. And for some unknown reason, I was thinking about a song this morning, and definitely my sleep time or my bedtime, I get a lot of downloads. And so this energy right now is very much about what are you getting in your dreams? What are you getting in your intuitive life? And so energy comes in to us through emotion, through meditation, through artistic endeavors. We can see things in a very clear way in our mind's eye, which makes us even better at photography, which I say all the time. Pisces/Neptune are the ruling sign and planet of photographers and filmmakers. So this is a really big time to have that type of visionary experience with our imagination where we see things much more clearer in our minds. And Mercury wants us to express through nonverbal communication, much more intuitive communication. I think I've said this before. My daughter is a Mercury and Pisces child, so and her boyfriend is too as well. So both of them are very bad at saying things out loud, how they feel, but I notice both of them are really nonverbal in how they interact, and they definitely beat around the bush. And you can have that energy right now about beating around the bush of what you are really thinking and what you want. Um, Having Mercury next to Neptune is also about picking up on cues yourself from others and observing other people and seeing what they're going through and what their expression is. So, yeah, look for that. But right now we have Neptune, Mercury in sextile to Saturn and Venus too. She's at 18, so she's about 2 degrees off of an exact sextile, which will happen with Mercury and Venus in the next couple days. So that's a really big time of hearing from old lovers, because Venus in Capricorn is the structure of love and the material world. Saturn is about owning some energy around women, around love, around desire. And then the sextile of Neptune Mercury is all about communication and coming back from the past. So look to hear from a past love anytime this week. And I know I've been listening to some podcasts and hearing other people say, yeah, I heard from an old lover or whatever. So that's definitely something that's going to come in this week. Also, let me just see, Venus is approaching Pluto. So again, Venus in Capricorn can be elderly women, women of authority, women bosses, and women who are mature. The crones of, I don't know what, I guess Wicca is the modality that recognizes the crone energy, but women, older women. And coming up on Pluto, Pluto is the energy of major change and transformation. And of course, Jupiter is as well, but in this context, Venus will be coming up on Pluto. So it is psychological shift, and because it's in Capricorn, it can mean the physical body as well. There's some kind of physical shift. So I would also have you on the lookout for like physical representations of irritability or your desires. You know, are you feeling particularly good in your body, which Venus can do? Venus is like, oh yeah, I'm feeling a lot of love right now. So you may have like the warm fuzzies, and especially with a sextile to Neptune and Mercury, there could be like an overwhelming energy of love just overtaking you, which honestly, I would love to have that. I actually have had that a couple times, once recently in the last week. And then another time I remember I was kind of questioning if there was something more out there in the universe, and I was overwhelmed by this feeling of being hugged by an angel. It was really wonderful. So that definitely is out there right now, and especially since the sun just went into Pisces. So you know, we've got a lot of really warm, fuzzy energy between that. And then also we have a sextile between the sun and Mars today. So the sun is ego, identity, connectedness to the nonverbal, connectedness to a higher sense of self, your oversoul or your higher self, in concert with taking action. So you are channeling the information. It is coming down. The desires are what you need to look for. Definitely the sextile between Venus and Mercury. Your desires are very connected to spirit and your ability to key in. It isn't necessarily, those planets aren't necessarily about communication verbally, but the moon in Virgo is about verbal communication. And she is in an earth sign, and again, earth and water are very cooperative. And so what can happen with this energy is that the sun, Neptune, Mercury understand a deeper level of spirituality and information coming through from a higher source. And the moon, also being a watery emotional energy funneled through Virgo, can express it in a clearer way, which right now I don't necessarily feel like that. I feel like I'm pretty analytical, but I don't know if I'm coming across as clear as I would like. I suppose that could also happen with the opposition of the sun and the moon, that there's a, a desire to make some information known, but then it just maybe gets lost in translation. Hopefully that's not the case. Anyway, we also have Jupiter squaring Mercury today, and he's within 5 degrees of a square to Neptune as well. So Jupiter wants to be free, does not want to stop and find out any details, which of course tomorrow the moon will be in square to Jupiter, but today not quite there yet, approaching that moon. And it is by sign. The moon and Jupiter are square by sign, but not by degree. And that means that the moon has not gotten within the 8 degrees of orb on either side of Jupiter's 20 degrees to make that square. But tomorrow she will be in square to Jupiter. And then there will be more of that meticulous taking to task. And of course, the thing about the moon Jupiter square tomorrow will be education, because that's the common resource between the two. Sagittarius rules higher awareness, higher education, college, and the moon represents elementary education or grade school education and the teacher. So there may be a conflict between the teacher and higher understanding, or wanting to take action through information gathering, but not really being there emotionally or able to totally process the actions, or being restricted by the teacher figure around taking those actions independently. So I'm kind of curious to know how this is all going to play out with my daughter and her education right now, because like I said, she's in elementary education going off to college. So her chart is very strong with this energy, and Jupiter is on the way out of her house of home and family. So there's this strong drive for independence, which quite honestly is very welcomed and she needs to do. So that kind of storyline is going to really resonate to people with college age kids, and it'll also resonate to teachers and to people considering going back to college. Then we have, let me see what else here. Oh, the Saturn, Venus, I think I mentioned that sextile to the Pisces, Neptune, Mercury. And man, that really kind of covers it. We don't have much more going on. All the planets, with the exception of the moon, which is considered a light, all on one side of the zodiac, and right now all within 5 houses. So they're clustered in this configuration that is like a basket. So we have the moon opposite as the handle, and all the other planets are down there forming the bowl of the basket. And so there is an energetic cooperation and gathering of energy that has to do with ideas and manifestation of dreams, and then also expansion of knowledge and wisdom, which is Jupiter and Sagittarius. And we are at a point with Saturn and Venus and Pluto in an earth sign, and Mars in Taurus in an earth sign, and now the moon in an earth sign. So there is a trine going on by sign with those bodies in the heavens. So there's really strong, I say today more than any time recently, we have a lot of earth energy expressing. And of course, coming up early March, even more. Early March, we're still going to have the sun in Pisces, and we'll have Uranus in Taurus. So it's water earth, which is about emotions, dreams, manifestation, value of the idea, and the imagination. It is a great time for creating, for artistic endeavors, and really bringing out more of that playful nature with Jupiter and Sagittarius, but also molding the clay and creating something really wonderful. And now is a fabulous time to manifest it. I'm telling you, Saturn in Capricorn Pluto is shifting our ideology and helping us to see things the way we haven't in the past. And then Uranus is asking us to take that step, that scary step that we don't know if will be supported. But I can tell you, you will be supported because it's going into an earth sign. It's making it tangible, and it's helping us all get something really clarified and strong in our lives. So anyway, okay, wow. It's already 11:30. I didn't know I would be able to talk that long about this, but I did. So anyway, I'm going to play my friend Tracy's song, Cinderella, and then I will be back in about 4 minutes. So we'll take our calls then. If you would like a reading, it's 347-994-3365, and please hit the 1 if you would like to talk to me, and I'll be right back.
I know a place where your dreams set you free.
Well, there you go. Welcome back. You are listening to the AstroEnergy Astrology Show on Blog Talk Radio. That was my friend Tracy Coriel and her song Cinderella. And I may have mentioned this in the past, but I'm not totally sure. I actually shot the video for that song. So I put the link to her song in the description, or actually over in the chat room, if you want to go to the chat room and find out. And I'm trying to find out, I don't see the video, but if you go to type in on YouTube, Artful Shelley, and then under that actual channel, type in Cinderella, you can see the video that I did for my friend Tracy. So anyway, yeah, it's pretty good. So let's see who we have here. Just take a caller. 817.
Oh, wow.
Hi, 817. How are you? Who is this?
I didn't call until a little late. This is Nancy. I never imagined I'd get through because I called in a few minutes late. I was on another line.
No, I've been having issues
with
Blog Talk. I'm good. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's interesting. It's going to be interesting because it really just got full in Virgo, and so, you know, it's already full at the very early degrees. So I'm kind of curious to see how the next couple of days will be with this moon energy in Virgo, because even though it's waning, it's going to be like still pretty full. So we'll see. Anyway, what can I do? It is on your moon. Happy moon return.
I know. What does that all mean? You know, and then I got Pisces, Mercury in Pisces, which is where my Mercury is, and they say that it's because it's going retrograde. It's going to be there a lot longer than normal.
Oh yeah, 2 months.
Am I getting spacey or more intuitive or more? My dreams have been pretty good.
Yes, all the above. Yeah, so interesting. Yeah, your Pisces is in your second house, so it's even more about having a dream, and I would guess it's probably a little frustrating to have Pisces in the second house because you have a lot of visions of how it could be, but you have a harder time going forward to do it by yourself. I'll qualify that, by yourself, because you do have a ton of Virgo in the 8th house, which is also manifestation of like joint ventures, finances and investments, things like that. And you are a very good worker around doing behind the scenes and things with other people because of that 8th house energy. So you can really well, but the actual physical money manifestation may be a little bit harder individually. So your finances do better when you join up with another person, and or when you incorporate things that are visionary with what you do to earn money, or even psychic, you know, like earning money from what you know, and, you know, as a reader or an interpreter, you know, intuitive interpreter, that kind of thing. That would be good for finances in your chart. But, you know, in the material world, if you're looking for something material-wise, you're really good at analysis and therapy, that kind of thing. What do you do for a living? You've got Saturn and Capricorn in the first, so that's the elderly. But, and you are here. I'll let you answer that question, but you are here to learn about yourself.
In corporate America. I recently switched back from full-time corporate America, where I had no freedom, to part-time with more freedom. Now I'm trying to figure out what I should be when I grow up, because I have time to do things. My whole life I've worked for someone else, and they told me where to go, what to do, and I was very good at it. But now it's like, okay, take control of your life. Now I'm like, what do I do?
Well, you know what you do? You find out who you are, and you enjoy yourself, because you have a kind of chart that grows younger as you grow older. Okay? Nice. So naturally, that Capricorn rising, 13-degree Capricorn rising, is all about, and do you mind if I tell everybody what your birthday is for people who follow along and want to do it? So it's March 29th, 1961 at 1:50 a.m. in Chicago. So that gives you a 13-degree Capricorn rising and 28 Saturn in Capricorn. So you are wrapping up an old story around being the authority figure and being in control and being the boss and being always the one that everyone comes to for all the responsibilities. That's what this transit is for everyone, you know, is bringing, hey, you don't have to be responsible for everyone else. It's about being responsible for you. And as Capricorn gets older, their planets in Capricorn progress into Aquarius, which is a much more youthful mindset and expansive quantum energy, as opposed to very plotting, dogmatic, linear energy. So having Saturn at late degrees Capricorn is about getting ready for that new shift into the youthful mindset. So
nice.
Yeah, right now you've still got Saturn at 16 transiting, but of course Pluto is within 6 degrees of your Saturn, helping you with that shift of mentality. And right when everything shifts into Aquarius, like Saturn goes into Aquarius next year, it's going to hit your Jupiter. And looking to your chart, you see the first house is the Aries house. That's the I'm here now, let's initiate things, let's do something. And with that Saturn so close to your Jupiter, it's like, let's start something new and a new identity. You're really at a shift of who you are as a person, like big time. In the next 5 years, you're going to be a completely different person about like what's important. And you're probably already feeling it. I mean, Aquarius is that energy of, do you feel that?
Oh, yeah. It's just trying to figure out what it is. It's like, it's just
Well, I'll tell you, there isn't necessarily an answer to that right now. And I can even tell you my personal experience, and I think my aunt is also listening in right now. We both are going through this time where it's like, okay, we're changing. We want to change. We want freedom. We want to do something. But I don't know where. Where is it going to be? How is it going to manifest? We don't know. And that's part of Aquarius, because Aquarius is enigmatic. It doesn't necessarily have a plan because it is quantum energy. It very much is spontaneous and just moves with the energy. It isn't like Capricorn, which is probably why people are struggling with this transit of Pluto and Capricorn, because Pluto wants to bring out our insecurities and address them. It digs in our closet and says, hey, what is this all about? And we're looking at those things, and for Capricorn and for Saturn, which is there now, and then Pluto digging in the closet, it's kind of like, well, I'm afraid of the unknown. I'm afraid of that which I can't control. So wherever that is in your life, that's where it's coming out. For you, it's in your sense of self, how others see you, and how you express yourself in a driven, assertive way. Because again, Aries is ruled by Mars, your first house, and that's where your Saturn is. You combine Capricorn with Aries, and of course they square each other in the sky, but in the first house they're in tandem. So you've probably even felt this square between when Uranus was squaring Pluto in 2015. It probably really affected you even more because, well, on two levels, because Pluto and Uranus in your chart are fairly close together, and so you're more about the cooperative energy of those two planets. And so when they square each other, you're like, I don't like this. This doesn't feel good. And then having Pluto right there on your Saturn, coming into your Saturn, is also like, wow, this is really shaking me to the core. And so you're finding that that's part of your story right now. And then of course it's the first house, which is the Aries energy. So you combine Pluto and Uranus, and then you also combine Capricorn and Aries in your chart. So you are really trying to bring together two energies that aren't necessarily cooperative by placement in the zodiac, but for you they are. They're meant to be very strong energies around moving forward and manifesting your life. But that being said, Pluto, Saturn going into Aquarius, which Venus will get there in about 2 weeks. She'll be going into Aquarius at the end of the month, a little over, like right around the same time Uranus goes into Aries, Venus will go into Aquarius. And maybe even the same day, actually. I could look it up while we're talking here. But yeah, having that energy is very much about, I don't like the disconnect between these planets and these signs, but they're shaking you out of your complacency, and you're looking at the dogma is kind of what I'm trying to say. Like, I have a belief system that I'm never going to change, and this is the way it's got to be. And that's what is getting shaken to your core. So yeah, I mean, that's your identity. And so Aquarius, when these planets get into Aquarius, and that's right, I was looking that up. Hang on one second. let's see, Venus goes into Aquarius on the 2nd of March, and then Uranus goes in on the 6th. So they're very close together and shifting that energy. But when Venus goes into Aquarius, that's going to give you another tip-off as to what you're going to feel like when other planets hit that degree. And it is very much about whatever comes my way. Like, I have to go with the flow. And information, I can tell you and everyone, information is going to be coming fast and furious, probably now and into the next 20 years as these planets are moving into Aquarius. It is about quickness, and things will change on a dime. Information that has you going in a certain direction may not even be there yet. It may not even come until Saturn gets to Aquarius next year. So when you're like, yeah, I feel like I've got to change, but I don't know how I'm going to do that, and I've got chills telling you that, that's what you're supposed to be going through. And it's not necessarily a familiar energy for a lot of us. And so I guess what I want to say to you is that, yeah, that's the way it's supposed to be. So don't worry about it. Just go with it. And I do think that Neptune on your Mercury and your house of money is a bit of energy around not wanting to do the old task-driven life and wanting to be much more free-flowing around where the money comes from. And because you have, you have Moon in Virgo and Pluto in Virgo and North Node in Virgo, you have Saturn in Capricorn, and Mars in Cancer can also be very task-oriented. Then you have this need to have things very stable and understandable and literal, but you also need to realize that we're moving into an energy that is very unpredictable, and that's going to be the new norm. It is a society moving away, and the kids coming into the millennium have that energy embedded in them, so this is familiar to them, and it's not familiar to the old guard. I mean, I like to think that I'm pretty advanced thinking about things. I have Uranus in Virgo, so I'm very much the new energy, and quantum energy is in an earth sign for me. So I kind of understand how to manifest that quantum energy to the physical. But I still have a lot of earth energy that doesn't want to move and doesn't want things to move forward in a certain way. I'm the same way. I need to know where I'm going to be going, because then I feel grounded. And it's not grounding energy, it's electrical, ungrounded energy. So you just have to kind of go with it for the time being. When Saturn gets to Aquarius, Saturn grounds Aquarius, okay? So next year may be better to understand energy flowing, and will help you figure out how to bring it down and not let it be so crazy and wired. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's true. I know all this anyway. Hitting everywhere. It's not just Saturn. Chiron is going into Aries too, and it's like, what?
Yeah, I try not to think about that, honestly. I mean, I do talk about Chiron. I'm not as big into Chiron transits as much as Chiron in our charts, because Chiron in our charts, it's set in and it's very personal, whereas the transit of Chiron, I mean, it seems to be a very personal energy, so it is going to affect children born at this time with Chiron and Aries. So I think as far as that's concerned, when Chiron goes in, and children with the Chiron are going to have that energy around the aggression that we've seen as Uranus and Mars have been in Aries. It's going to be about aggression, assertiveness, and that's where they're going to have a wounding. So, I mean, yeah, it's kind of making me a bit uncomfortable having it going in, and I think it lasts for, honestly, I don't even know, 2 years. I think it's a 2-year transit, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I'm much more into Chiron in the birth chart rather than transits, because quite honestly, I could go on and on about the planets that I do talk about. So I don't get as much into the asteroids, because, I mean, I do know about them, but I'm not as in depth with them as, say, like Ann Ortley. I'm like, you know what, Ann, you just go do those asteroids. I'm going to stick to the main planets, because it's just way too much.
Exactly. Well,
but anyway,
enough with this Moon and Saturn and Jupiter and all that. I got plenty. I don't need to worry about that. You do have a lot
going on. So I'm going to just say that right now it is a time for you for finances, and to do something that's a little bit more intuitive and less meticulous. That is a huge lesson for you right now, to not be so wrapped up meticulous day to day and be a little bit more fluid with your life. And because Saturn's in your first house, your sense of self and who you are as expressing person is what you came to understand. You came to understand the transition from dogma to quantum thinking, from no, this is the way we've always done it, to we haven't ever done it anyway, because it's all brand new and it's all different and it's unpredictable. So that's something that really excited you as you were coming into this life, and it's in your chart. So you have to run with it. So I'm sorry. Yeah. But anyway, call again another time. We've got a few callers to get to, but definitely call back. And you're welcome. I'm sorry I didn't let you talk more.
No, I like it. I learned my lesson. Shut up and let you talk, because you've got a flow that comes through, and it's supposed to stay out of it.
Well, it's kind of funny, and that's really what it is. I mean, I do love talking to other people because I think I am much more casual in my interpretations when I can talk to people, but it does start coming fast and furious, and a lot of information comes through, and so I feel bad because I do like talking to people and finding out about their lives. But yeah, it's a lot. Anyway,
it's best to
just
take care. Let the energy flow, and then see what happens. Thank you, Shelley.
All right.
Well,
you're welcome. My pleasure. Yeah, have a good full moon. Take care. Bye. Okay, let's go on to 347. Hi, 347. Who is this? 347, are you there? Did I put you to sleep? Hi, how are you? Who is this?
Hey, this is Nancy. It's HANSI.
Hold on. I'm sorry.
Before.
Okay. Oh, okay, wonderful. So, could you spell your name? I didn't quite hear it.
Sure, it's HANSI.
AKMSI?
No, it's like Hans, but it's Hansi.
Okay. Hansi.
Yeah,
Got it. Okay, now it's just for some reason the connection isn't really clear, so I'm trying to hear you, but and it's Blog Talk. I'm having such a hard time. But anyway, give me your birthday and place and time, and I'll get your chart going.
Sure. It's 4/2/60.
Okay.
New York, and 10:09 a.m.
Okay. Okay, 1 second here. And you said 10:09. Oh, 9. I had it. I'm like, okay, you said AM or PM? AM?
AM, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was like, okay, don't forget, because it's 10:09 and the numbers are together, and then by the time I got to it after putting in the other information, I totally spaced it. That's Pisces. That's Mercury in Pisces. Information comes and goes just as quickly. It's like, what? Where did that go? I just had it. So don't beat yourself up. Yeah, you're not getting older. You're getting Mercury in Pisces. So what can I do for you today?
Well, so I'm hitting my second Saturn return, which is interesting, and that's Capricorn stuff.
Yes.
And, I am a filmmaker, and I have a whole stellium of planets in Pisces.
In Pisces at your midheaven, yes.
Yeah, so I'm really sort of feel like I'm coming into my voice right now.
Absolutely, because Neptune literally 3 degrees into your 10th house of career. So Neptune is making those dreams come true. And it's at exactly the same degree as your Mercury. So your voice it's like, and the funny thing is your voice is very intuitive. It's very nonverbal. Again, Pisces is the sign of nonverbal. So you're expressing in a nonverbal way through your film, through your craft. And that's what you want to do. And another thing I know, which is really interesting, is when Neptune hits your midheaven, that's a retirement transit. But for you, it's actually putting you to work or taking off for you, which is really amazing.
Yeah, it's definitely, because I had worked in post jobs for years, but now the film stuff is finally taking off, and I'm just doing part-time work. But yeah, so any suggestions on how to manifest that and bring money in on that?
Oh, so is that your question? How are things going to manifest and bring in money?
Yeah, I'm trying to, the art stuff is going really well, and I'm getting a lot of promotion. I'm just trying to figure out how to monetize it all.
Oh, okay. So let me just look here for the monetization. Well, I can tell you a partner is probably going to be your best interim, best near future bet. Your Saturn is in the house of partnership, and that means that career-wise, it really, you set it up on the other side to have that partner to help you out. And Venus is right next to Saturn, transiting on your Saturn return. And so there is a sense of bringing in another female partner to help you with all the details and all the physicality of everything. And then when Saturn next year, when Saturn gets into Aquarius, that's in your house of joint finances. And that's going to be all the internet stuff. It's in Aquarius, so it's going to be about entrepreneurship and the internet and production. Broadcasting. You're going to want to do more broadcasting of things and maybe, do something on YouTube or have an IGTV thing. Yeah. Who's on YouTube?
All my stuff is on YouTube. I do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And
yeah, that's amazing.
I have a collective of other women creators that I work with.
Oh, very cool. Well, give out your information and so people can find you from this show.
Oh, sure. So it's it's called Squee Project, and my website is squeeprojects.com, and they can reach out to me there.
Okay, so again, I'm having a difficult time understanding the word you said. Could you spell that?
Sure. It's Squee. It's SQUEE.
Okay.
Project.com.
Okay.
And
Squee Project.
Squee is a fangirl term, like excited, like Squee.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I do that a lot. Awesome. So what looks like is going to happen is Saturn's moving forward onto your Saturn. So that's obviously making you take ownership of what you truly came to do. And Jupiter is going to be in a Jupiter return at the end of this year in December. And that's in your house of work. So that's going to expand your reach. Right now, Jupiter in Sagittarius is giving you opportunities to travel with work. But when it gets to Capricorn, that's when it's like, okay, last degrees of your house of work, coming into your ownership, expanding who you are in the workplace as the authority figure, and having more freedom to be who you are. And then Jupiter moves into your house of partnership, expanding partnership, which, again, Saturn's already there, Pluto's been there, and partnership, I would really recommend that you find someone to join in with you on your career, and that's really going to be a grounding energy and an expansive energy for you, especially at the end of this year. Okay?
Okay, awesome.
And thank you for the call. It's wonderful hearing from new people, and it's awesome. I'm excited for you. Yeah.
I love
anyway,
your show. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. You're welcome. Let's see. I don't know if I called on 817. I've got time for one last person, so I'm going to call on 201. Hi, 201. Who is this?
This is Jackie. Hi, Shelley.
Hi, Jackie. What are you up to?
I've been home a couple of weeks. I wasn't feeling well, but I'm going back to work tomorrow.
I'm sorry to hear that. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, there's a lot of that energy going around right now.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Oh my. Yeah. So, do you have a specific question for me today?
I'm just trying to figure out what's going on in my chart. I'm still trying to get some things done. In the area of finances.
Okay.
I'm trying to move, and a lot has happened. My husband just recently lost his job in a fire. But
I'm sorry.
I'm optimistic. He seems to be optimistic that when he's ready to go back, he'll be able to find a job. I just want to see what's in my chart, though.
Well, Saturn's in your house of joint finances, of course, making things a little bit more stressful. But you're in a Saturn return just like the last lady. And so that means that you are having to really own who you are in your career and in your life. And it's like you're the one, and especially in the marriage money right now, you're kind of like the focus of where the money is coming from. So, yeah, the Saturn-Venus connection, and same kind of thing with her. Venus is near Saturn for you in the house of joint finances, so there's some connection to a commitment with another person that could be a woman. And let me see, the elderly is connected to this. I'm trying to think of all the different things that you could that could spark you for finding some money. But inheritance is also included in this. The elderly, I don't know if you know someone who is possibly transitioning in the near future, who's kind of an older person, grandparent, something like that. That's a potential.
The house was my mother's house.
Oh, okay.
And
oh,
I'm
okay. Yeah, you're trying
custodian
to get
of
the
the
money
house
from that.
now, but I'm not living there. I'm trying to acquire the house. It's like the only main asset that's left, and my siblings took everything else. But this is just sitting out there.
Have we talked about timing on that before?
Yes, in the past we have. Yes.
Like March, April, probably.
Yes.
Let's see, Saturn. Yeah, because Saturn doesn't join Pluto at the end degrees. Trying to think, it's going to happen maybe the end of the year also, because Pluto gets almost out of your house of joint finances, which will be a big release closer to when Saturn and Pluto join. I would say that's going to be much better for you. Right now, Saturn's on your sun, which is really restricting how you see yourself and forcing you to really not see yourself as a victim and not see yourself as there's no way out, although you probably do, because Saturn pulls us in and does compartmentalize us a bit when it transits over our sun. So there may be that sense that I have no way out, I have nowhere to go, I'm so frustrated, why am I feeling this way? It's transiting across your sun. It'll get past your sun if you just give it a little bit of time. Let me see. It gets, I want to say when it's going to stop really affecting you, but it will go retrograde this year. So you are kind of going through this whole cycle right now of reevaluating how you guys do your finances, and it's restructuring it, I think is the best way to put it. And if you can, I don't know if you carry any credit card debt, but if you could redo your credit card debt or refinance a house, I think that would honestly give you a bit of relief, according to what's going on in here. And you're saying you're trying to buy another property. Are you getting rid of your property and then buying that to live in?
No. I already did the refi, and I'm trying to determine whether I'm going to pay the back taxes on my mother's home and acquire it that way, or get a mortgage and try to buy out my brothers and sisters, which at this point they really shouldn't be getting a lot because they took up front.
Oh, I see.
So I'm going to have to deal with the courts on that and renegotiate or whatever.
Well, I do see that ultimately working out for you. I mean, Venus is also in your house of money. Venus rules money. It's in a joint finances, your 8th house, but it does rule money. And then she's coming up on Pluto, which means major changes around money and the desires associated with like the psychology of what's going on, the deeper side of it. Let me just look and see when that happens. So she's right there at 24 Capricorn on February 25th, so Monday. And that's pretty quick. Like she's going about a degree a day. And so after she goes into the next house, that could be a little bit of money coming in for you around the house. And then Jupiter right now, Jupiter's in your house of marriage and partnership, and it's going over Venus, which is fortune. I mean, I'm looking at your chart. It looks like something could come in, but the one thing that's difficult for you is Chiron in your natal chart is getting triggered by Mercury. But Neptune is also right there, which is healing it. So, there is some energy around old issues and things coming back in. Like I said at the beginning of the show, old issues coming up, but I think by the end of the month you could get some good news around it. And definitely, I can't guarantee the money will completely be there for you, but by next year, I think it will. Definitely when Jupiter goes into Capricorn and then hits I would say December of 2020, possibly, or anywhere between January when Saturn Pluto join, which is a huge, huge thing. It's going to be leaving your house of legalities, money, legacies, all of the stuff associated with the house. It's leaving there in January of next year. And then Jupiter goes through that house again, and Jupiter's fortune. So I do think that you've got positive things coming regarding this. I think it's more of like a waiting game right now with a couple of positive energies coming in that will give you more of what you're looking for, but not completely until next year. So, yeah, I'm just kind of looking over some stuff. Mars is going to be joining your Jupiter in the 12th house, which will also bring some money that you're unaware of. And I think it's going to even get better when Mars gets into Gemini and into your first house. So let me tell you when that is.
Okay.
Yeah. That happens at 17 degrees, which is April 27th. You'll have Mars in your first house. And I think that, it'll be joining up with your North Node, which is also a point of fortune in your chart. So, yeah, and that's going to be multiple. And that's, you have Gemini rising, which rules siblings. Gemini is the house of siblings and neighbors. So, I think there's going to be some money coming in or some situation where you're going to benefit in the near future, but it may not wrap up completely until, I would say, probably January of next year. And then by the end of next year, you're going to feel so much better. It'll be such a different situation anyway because Saturn goes into Aquarius. So you'll definitely be moving on after Saturn gets past 24 degrees. So let me just see if I can find out when that is. Saturn. But it's not going to go in until next year. Let me look into next year and see when Saturn gets there. So, yeah, it's going to be January of 2020. So 10 degrees. Yeah, January 25th of 2020, Saturn and Pluto will be almost at exactly the same degree. And it will also just be leaving your house of goods of the deceased. So that's a really big time to look for everything culminating and kind of moving on out. And then I think that you'll be able to enjoy the house more as Jupiter gets into Capricorn at the end of this year into January. So right now, the kind of culmination's January of next year with a few positive drops in the bucket, I would say, in the process, okay? March and April this year. All right?
Okay.
I wish I could tell you more.
It's been a rough ride. And just, I have a hard time with my job. I'm in my head most of the time because of all these other external stressors.
Right.
And, then this thing will happen with his job and my son's jobs. They all work at the same plant.
Well, if I could only encourage you through saying there's a reason why jobs are ending and relationships are ending and situations are ending with people is because we are moving into a new energy and they don't work anymore. And you have to move to the new energy. So instead of looking at it like, oh no, stability's gone, look at it like now's a fresh opportunity to move in a new direction because that's what the universe wants for you anyway. That's exactly what it's happening for. So, yeah. All right?
Okay. All right.
I don't want you to fret over it. It's meant to happen, and things are on their way if you have faith. And that's what everything I've been saying today. All the Pisces energy is about having faith. So it's going to be okay, and they're happening for a reason. It is not a random victim situation. You are supposed to be going in a new direction. Your husband is doing this for a benefit, your son for a benefit. Please know that that's true. It really is. I mean, right now, with planetary cooperation between Capricorn and Pisces, absolutely, it's old stories that we are shifting how we look at and are moving through the energy on our way to a new energy. And it is meant to change, especially Uranus going into Taurus. That will help you because it's at the end degrees of your soul group, and it also relates to money from career, and it's joining up. Uranus goes into Taurus, which is money and value and personal value. There's a shift for you. You have Saturn in Pisces, which is intuition in your house of career. And I mean, I don't remember if you told me you're doing something more intuitive as a career, but if you're not.
No, I'm a teacher, but I'm a school teacher.
Yeah, there's definitely something more intuitive for you. And when Uranus goes into your 12th house in Taurus and Saturn is naturally in Pisces right now with the sun there, it's time to look at a new way, a new angle, and more of a faith-based, intuitive way of looking at your career.
Okay. Okay.
All right?
Which is
But
what I'm feeling on
really
the
strong.
inside.
Well, you're going to express it on the
phase.
outside. Yeah, by the end of this year into next year, that's what you need to be doing because your chart's screaming that at me, okay?
I'm just screaming it, huh?
It is. It is. So, anyway, Jackie, just have faith. It's there for you. Things are happening for a reason. Please know that. And the full moon in Virgo, it's in the home and family. It's coming up on Uranus in your chart, the Uranus-Pluto conjunctions, home and family. It is a shift around education and the moon going, in, all of this stuff. You have Mars at the first degree in your house of children, and it's in Virgo, which is education. So there's good energy going on right now, and you just have to know that the planets are aligning just the way they need to for your future. Okay, you're in alignment for what you need to have.
Okay, I had an experience during the last eclipse. I was actually in my mother's house late that night working alone, and I turned around and I saw her for a mere moment helping me.
Oh, that's wonderful. And so good.
When I caught her, it was as if she was still there. She was bending down with me, picking things up, straightening up the house.
Wow.
And that's been a very, very difficult thing for me because it's like I'm going back through my life and, trying to understand why certain things happened with my siblings when she died and why everybody became so fractured. And it's like we became a dismembered family. And, I'm trying to remove the pain and change the atmosphere there. But at the same time, I have a sibling that's lurking, waiting for money from me. And this was the same sibling that turned everything, him and another one, they turned it all upside down. So, I was wondering why she revealed herself to me that night because I've always asked her to come to me, at least in my dream. But I actually saw her in the house.
That's so beautiful, though.
A veil was lifted for a moment. So
well, that's
I'm dealing with a lot of other people's issues and crap, and I'm very empathic. So it's been overwhelming, and
so you
to
need
say
to go
that it's been difficult is easy.
Yeah, you need to have alone time, and please, please, please find alone time for yourself. Saturn and Pisces, and you have all the Virgo in your house, home, and family. Alone time, you need that. And then you've got Uranus, Pluto conjunct in the home and family. It's going to be major shifts in your life and major bombs set off in your home life. That's just part of what you come in with, and it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay, but I have to end, though. I'm sorry. I wish I could talk longer, but it was good talking to you. I want to encourage you.
Thank you, Shelley. I appreciate
you. My pleasure.
Thank
All right,
you.
Jackie, take care. Bye.
Namaste.
Oh, namaste to you. And that's the show for this week. Thank you so much for joining. We'll talk to you next week. Bye. Thanks for stopping by AstroEnergy this week. If you would like to get a hold of Shelley Overton, you can get her at astrologerangel.com, on Facebook at AstroEnergy or Astrologer Angel. The music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com with additional music by Ironwood Rain. Check them out on the net at ironwoodrain.com. To subscribe, please click the picture of Shelley on the right or the red button below.